Hello, this is Shanna with Shanna and Alia, and today I wanted to talk to you about what to do when you say, I don't know, all the time. So one very important thing to do if you feel stuck is to listen to what you say to other people when they ask you questions. If you answer with, I don't know, more than one time, then you're probably stuck in some sort of loop cognitively within your brain. Usually those loops are trauma loops where you're in fight, flight, or freeze. Normally, I don't know means that you are most likely frozen and you don't want to address whatever trigger that question or the place you are when someone asks, or a memory. When it hits you, your brain sort of shuts down and says, I don't want to answer, so I don't know. The second thing is that you have cut off yourself from your intuition. So you have stopped listening to the first answer you get when someone asks you a question. I don't know usually means trauma. I don't care usually means avoidance or most likely depression. So I want for those two things to sort of be separated so that if you have someone in your life who's answering, I don't care, then you may need to be concerned about their mental health as far as them being depressed, especially moving into 2021. And if you have someone in your life that says, I don't know, then you might be able to help them understand how to get back into the loop where they are talking to themselves and out of the freeze zone that they're in. Because when you are triggered, which a lot of people who have never experienced trauma before will be experiencing trauma 2021, once you get triggered, then your brain basically takes over. And you really can't make a choice because that's not what's important to your brain at the moment. Your brain wants to deal with whatever threat is in the room. And whether or not there's a physical tiger in the room, your brain does not know the difference. Your brain does not know. That's part of why your answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. My response to that is, do you feel safe? And help the person by asking them specific questions to help them realize that they're safe. Is there an actual tiger in the room? Is there a perceived threat? Do you think that someone within this environment is actually out to get you? Do you think there is a threat internally? Do you think that the person you're talking to is going to use this information that you don't know? Do you think they're going to use it against you if you actually do know and just are too afraid to say? And then your third thing is, if you can recognize at least part of why you're having the freeze moment, then you can ask your brain, when did this trauma occur? So for example, let's say that you lost your job due to COVID. For me in particular, I would ask myself if I was starting to get anxious or frozen about starting a new career. I would ask myself, okay, well, when did I lose my job? April 4th of 2020. What day is it now? Today is December 21st of 2020. Happy Aquarius to you, and winter solstice and Yule and all of the amazing things that everyone celebrates. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Fight, flight, or freeze. Oh, yeah. The second question is, so the first question is, when did it occur? The second question is, where am I now? What time is it now? What date is it now? What's the location that the last thing occurred in? It was at my house. What's the location now? It's at my house. Is the furniture in my house arranged any differently? Yes. How is that different? And then look around, have yourself look around the room, or have your friend look around the room and answer the question, are you safe? Or am I safe? If I were doing it for myself, am I safe? But if I was helping a friend, I would say, look around the room and answer this question, are you safe right now? And normally what that will do is get the blood flowing to the front of the brain, and that's the part of the brain that can actually make decisions, plan, answer questions. When you're in trauma, like in a trauma loop or in a trauma sequence, or having like any anxiety really, then the back of your brain lights up because it thinks that you are in trouble, that you are going to die. And so why would you need reasoning and planning if you might die? So your brain just doesn't function, which is where the I don't know comes from, because it's different to not know, to not be able to come up with an answer, than it is to not care. So again, normally not knowing means that you or your friend or your loved one is in a trigger response if they say that more than once or twice during a conversation, unless you're talking about something that they really don't know, like a pop quiz on, I don't know. For me, see, I just said it, that's a normal, I don't know, but for me it would be maybe a pop quiz on like Renaissance art or something. Like that wouldn't be something that I would do very well recalling. So okay, and then oh yeah, and so also the second remedy for this, especially if you want to work on yourself, is to reconnect yourself with your intuition. And the best way to do this is to start writing, and start with asking yourself questions or having someone else ask you questions, and write down your first response or try to capture your first response. Because if you don't respond within 3 seconds, A, that's non-compliance with your question, and B, that is, that, I just lost my train of thought again. I might need notes. A, non-compliance. Oh, B, disconnection. So what you need to do is the first thing that pops into your head. I picture my forehead and other people's foreheads as movie screens. I don't know where and when I decided to do this, but I was paying attention tonight when I was talking to a friend, and I noticed that when she would go into herself to try to come up with the answer that she thought she should give instead of her intuitive answer, I started sort of seeing or intuiting or puzzling together. I would like literally sort of see what she wanted to say, like what her intuition was across her forehead. Not like a pencil writing, but just sort of in like, I don't know how to explain it. Just sort of etheric. Anyone who's watching this channel, a prerequisite would be to be aware enough to realize that this is, if there can be a third dimension, there can be other dimensions, and the other dimensions function at a vibration that we normally can't resonate with because we're third dimension. So there's a lot going on around us all the time. And so there are ways of seeing and feeling that we all have. Anyway, so when someone asks you a question, start practicing the art of answering within 3 seconds. If you find yourself questioning yourself, thinking before you speak, then you're not using your intuition. I know our society has told you, think before you speak, and that is true if you're feeling any type of emotion that that might render someone being hurt, you might be familiar with in hurting someone, but or if you're speaking to a large group of people, you might want to think about what you're saying. However, probably would be more interesting if you just got up there and started speaking, if you knew the subject well enough. But so what you want to start doing, especially if you're like playing with this with your friends, is literally have them ask you questions, like a drill, like, what's your favorite color? Pink. That's what pops up on my head. What's your favorite soda? I don't have one. I'm not a big fan. What is your favorite movie? Ever After. Thought it was The Princess Bride. I guess it got, see? Like, you don't always know. You don't always know. And if I went searching for the answer, I would think too much about it, and I wouldn't actually, in this moment, be able to access what is my favorite movie at this moment, and it is Ever After with Drew Barrymore. And then, so you can do all sorts of things, but what I need you to start doing is reconnecting yourself with your inner self, and literally the activity of neurons in your gut, like in your stomach area, in your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, mostly in your sacral chakra, I think, at least for me. The reason why you feel things, when people say they're feeling something in their gut, is because literally there are neurons in your gut that go to your brain. So you are feeling things in your gut. So I need you to start getting back into the loop where you're listening to yourself. So the number one thing that is happening right now, and has been happening for a long time, that I would love to remedy, not even like, but love, is reconnecting us with ourselves and reconnecting humans with humanity. Again, reconnecting humans with humanity. We have been inundated with fear and control and doubts and all of these things, viruses coming at us from all sorts of sources that we have been conditioned to receive, that we have started not to pay attention to the things that we have the same as each other, which is like 99% of things. Like, if you're a human, you have a brain, you have a heart, you have senses. Most humans have senses, some humans don't. But you have a circulatory system. You have parents. You came from a sperm and an egg. Yeah. Hopefully, most likely. And then you need oxygen to breathe. Like, all of these things, these large concepts makes us all human. And we have been taught to focus on the things that make us different, which I think are beautiful and need to be honored, but they definitely don't need to be a source of fear from each other. So, you know, if you think about the world from a cat's perspective, which I plan to do a whole segment on, but from a cat's perspective, the cat doesn't care what your religious affiliation is. The cat does not care what your spiritual ideals are. The cat does not care what your political ideas are. The cat does not care what color your skin is. The cat does not care what gender you are. Well, actually, some cats probably do, but that has more to do with like your energy. So yeah, what gender you are. Cats don't care whether you're wearing pajamas, unless, of course, they're uncomfortable for the cat to be around, but it doesn't matter. So, you know, at the end of the day, to a cat, we're all humans. And that's the perspective that I would like to reusher in. But first, we need to learn how to give ourselves compassion, give ourselves an ounce of humanity, because we've been taught to strip ourselves from it. And then as we learn to be more human to ourselves, we will start, just because we have modeling mirror neurons in our brain, and we're designed to model behavior across settings, then we are going to start treating each other with more humanity as well. So thank you so much for joining in. Happy solstice. I'll see you in the next video.